And welcome to Scott Sweeney Sports Day, ladies and gentlemen. I'm back here with some more NFL and college football predictions. So, without further ado, let's get into those right now. First up, Missouri heading into Athens to take on number one Georgia. I will take Georgia at home. I think Georgia is a much better team than Missouri is, and I think Georgia really needs to show the committee why they have them at number one. Next up, Ohio State heading into Lincoln to take on Nebraska. Give me Ohio State on the road. I think Ohio State's been playing much better lately than what we saw back in week 2 against Oregon. So I'm going to take Ohio State on the road to get it done against Nebraska.
Adios, Frosty.
Next up, number 9, Wake Forest heading into North Carolina. Give me Wake Forest on the road. I think Wake Forest is a better team. They're undefeated. I thought they should have been ranked a little higher than where they were last week. So I'll take Wake Forest on the road against North Carolina. Next up, Liberty and Ole Miss. Ole Miss coming in with 2 losses, still ranked in the top 20. Give me Ole Miss at home over Liberty. I think Liberty is a good, solid football team for what they are in that conference, but I don't think they're good enough to beat Ole Miss tomorrow. So I'll take Ole Miss at home over Liberty. Next up, Illinois and Minnesota. Minnesota coming in. The leaders of the Big Ten Western Division. So I'll take Minnesota on the road at home in Minneapolis against Illinois and continue their run to potentially making the Big Ten championship game to play against either Michigan State or Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game. Next up, Pitt and Duke. I'm going to go with Pitt. I think Pitt had a tough game last week. I think Pitt's going to get back on track this week. Give me Pitt on the road to get it done against Duke. Next up, Michigan State and Purdue. My dad's upset pick of the week. I'm not going to go with it. I'm going to take Michigan State on the road because I do not want to see Cincinnati in the playoffs. So I'm going to go with Michigan State on the road to get it done on the road in a close one against Purdue. Next up, Navy and Notre Dame should be a good one here. I'm going to go with the Irish, who only have 1 loss this year, coming to Cincinnati earlier in the season. So I'm going to go with Notre Dame at home over Navy. Next up, Oklahoma State and West Virginia should be a good game here. Give me Oklahoma State on the road. I think Oklahoma State's a much better team than West Virginia is right now in the Big Ten, in the Big 12. So I'll take Oklahoma State on the road against West Virginia. Next up, Baylor and TCU should be a good matchup here. I'm going to go with Baylor to get a win here on the road against TCU. I think Baylor's trying to keep their playoff, their Big 12 championship hopes alive here with a win here. So I'll go with Baylor on the road against TCU. Next up, Auburn and Texas A&M should be a good game here. I'm going to go with Texas A&M at home. It's tough to win at Kyle Field. Just ask Alabama how tough that is to win at Kyle Field this year in front of the 12th man out there at Texas A&M. So I'll go with Jimbo and Texas A&M to get the win here at home over Auburn. Next up, Idaho State and BYU. BYU coming in 15th in the nation, hoping Cincinnati loses so they can get a spot in the group of 5. Get a New Year's Six team out of the group of 5, but I don't think they're going to. So I'll take BYU at home though to keep their slim New Year's Six hopes alive with a win over Idaho State. Next up, Wisconsin and Rutgers. I will take Wisconsin on the road. I think Wisconsin's a better team. They showed me something last week with that big win over Iowa last week. I'll take Wisconsin on the road to get it done against Rutgers. Next up, Mississippi State coming off a big win last week against Kentucky, heading into Fayetteville to take on Arkansas. I'm going to go with Arkansas. I think that was a very good win last week from Mississippi State at home. But I don't think they get the win this week. I'm going to go with Arkansas at home in Fayetteville against Mississippi State. Next up, NC State and Florida State. Mark Daniels was talking about this being Florida State's biggest game of the year earlier this week. I'll take NC State on the road to get it done here against Florida State. I think NC State knows they have control of their own destiny right now, so they got to keep that. So I'll take NC State on the road against Florida State. Next up, LSU and Alabama should be a good game here. I'll take Alabama at home over LSU. I think I think Alabama knows they got to win out to get into the playoffs, so I think they'll start that off this week with a win over LSU. Next up, Tennessee and Kentucky should be a good game here. I'm going to go with Kentucky at home. I think Kentucky had a tough loss last week to Mississippi State, but I think they'll get back on track this week. Give me Kentucky at home over Tennessee. Next up, Iowa and Northwestern. Give me Iowa on the road. I think Iowa's a much better team than Northwestern. Iowa's coming off 2 tough losses, so I'll take Iowa on the road against Northwestern. Next up, Boise State and Fresno State should be a good game here. I'll take Fresno State at home. I think Fresno is a better team than Boise is. If UCF could beat Boise at home, so can Fresno, so I'll take Fresno State at home over Boise. Next up, Oregon and Washington. I'm going to go with Oregon on the road here. I think Oregon got lucky being that number 4 spot to start the season. So I'll take Oregon on the road against Washington. Next up, Indiana and Michigan. Michigan coming off that choke job, as I would call it, last week against Michigan State. I'm going to go with Jim Harbaugh. Michigan to get back on track here. I think Indiana is not a very good team this year. Sorry to my buddy Kurt Esser for saying that, but I'm going to go with Michigan at home over Indiana. Next up, San Diego State and Hawaii. Give me San Diego State again. This is a team looking to see Cincinnati lose by at some point this year, but I don't think they will. So I'll take San Diego State to get a win here over Hawaii. And now the College Game Day game of the week. Tulsa heading into Cincinnati to take on Cincinnati. Give me the Bearcats at home. I think College Game Day picked the right game that they were looking for a Cincinnati win on their schedule. This was perfect. I knew Cincinnati was going to have game day at some point this year. I thought it would be earlier in the season. I thought it would have been the UCF game, but we choked our chance of having College Game Day down there for that game after losing twice in 2 weeks. So I'll take Cincinnati over Tulsa. And the non-top 25 game, UCF and Tulane.
Woo-woo! Homecoming!
Tomorrow night. Unfortunately, I will not be there. My parents are a little too worried about COVID right now. So I'll take UCF at home over Tulane. I think Justin Malzahn's got this team playing well right now. 2 straight wins. Might be getting Dylan Gabriel back pretty soon, so I'll take UCF at home over Tulane.
Go Knights!
Now into the NFL games for the weekend. First up, the Cleveland Browns, who just released Odell Beckham a couple minutes ago, headed to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals. Give me Joe Burrow and the Bengals to get back on track here. I think the Bengals had an embarrassing loss last week to the Jets. So I'll take Joe Burrow and the Bengals to get it done here at home against the Browns.
Go Cincy!
Next up, Denver and Dallas should be a good game here. I'm going to go with Dak, Zeke, and the Cowboys to get it done here at home. Haven't lost at home all season. So I'm going to go with Zeke and potentially Cooper Rush again this week, but I don't think it'll matter. Mike McCarthy said Dak has practiced all week, so I think he'll be back. So give me Dallas at home over Denver. Next up, a game that nobody will watch this week it'll be the Texans and the Dolphins in Miami. Give me the Dolphins, I guess, at home. I think the Dolphins are a slightly better team out of these 2 very bad teams. I'll take the Dolphins at home over the Texans. Next up, the Atlanta Falcons heading into New Orleans to take on the Saints. Tough game here. I would not be shocked to see the Falcons go in there and pull off the upset, but I don't think so. I'm going to go with Taysom Hill and the New Orleans Saints to get it done here at home. I think Taysom Hill's back this week from the concussion. So I'll take Taysom Hill and the Saints to get it done here at home over the Falcons. Next up, the Raiders and the Giants. Give me the Raiders on the road. I think the Raiders know they got to win this game if they want to win the AFC West. So I'll go with the Raiders on the road to get it done against the Giants. Next up, Mac Jones and the Pats heading into Carolina to take on the Panthers. Patriots have not lost on the road this year, and I don't think that starts this week. Give me Mac Jones and the Pats to get it done here on the road against the Panthers. Next up, Buffalo and Jacksonville. Give me Josh Allen and the Bills to get it done here. Started off a little slow last week. I guess the Dolphins might think they get it going this week nice and early. So I'm going to go with Buffalo on the road against Jacksonville. Next up, the Vikings and the Ravens. Give me Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. I think the Ravens have been playing very well this year. Currently have the best record in the AFC. So I'll go with Lamar Jackson and the Ravens to get it done here at home over the Vikings. Next up, the Chargers and the Eagles. Give me Justin Herbert to get back on track. He's had 2 bad weeks in a row. I don't think he has 3 bad weeks in a row here. Give me Justin Herbert and the Chargers to get it done here on the road in a must-win game for them. Give me the Chargers on the road against the Eagles. Next up, it'll be Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers heading into Kansas City to take on the Chiefs.
Boo!
No sign of Aaron Rodgers this week. We'll see what happens next week for them. They're saying he could be back next week.
Boo!
If he's asymptomatic this week. Give me Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs to get it done here at home. I don't think Jordan Love's going to play well enough to get the win here on the road in Kansas City. But we'll see what happens next week with Aaron Rodgers and this.
Boo!
Next up, Arizona and San Francisco. Give me the Cardinals to get back on track. And the Cardinals know they screwed up last Thursday. They should have went for overtime, but unfortunately, Kyler Murray got a little too aggressive and went for the win last week, and it kicked him right in the butt last week, so I don't think they do that again this week. Give me Arizona on the road over the Niners. Next up, Sunday Night Football. This game will be much better if both teams are healthy, as it'll be the Tennessee Titans heading into L.A. to take on the Rams. Give me Matt Stafford and the Rams to get it done here at home. I think the loss of Derrick Henry is going to be really, really heartbreaking for the Titans. I think that could end their season, honestly. We'll see if Ryan Tannehill can actually be a very good quarterback this week. Give me the Rams at home over the Titans. Next up, Monday Night Football, going against a very bad Monday Night Raw probably again this week. Raw's been very bad the last month and a half, almost a year now. Next up, the Chicago Bears heading into Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers. Give me Terry's Steelers to get a win here. I think the Steelers are very good. They looked much better last week against the Browns. So give me the Steelers at home over the Bears. And that'll do it for this episode of Scott's Weekly Sports Today, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be back next week with another video, probably on Thursday again next week, because I will be not in States on Friday, but I'm going back to my normal Thursday upload. I'll see you guys right back here next week on Scott's Weekly Sports. See you later, guys.